What is a band that you genuinely think is different than others? Imagine you met God. What would you argue about with him? What is the most pretentious movie you've ever seen? The movie shown in the theater in Mr. Bean's Holiday. Edit, thanks for the award, or as Mr. Bean would say, gracias. Eat, pray, love. Well, I guess that's a good enough reason for me to not watch it. Any movie with Woody Allen in it. He is always super neurotic, always overanalyzes minute details, talks too much, just so exhausting. And now we also know what a pig dog of a human he is in real life, marrying his stepdaughter child bride. Ugh. If this thread is evidence of anything, it's that people really don't know what pretentious means. It insists upon itself. Is that a movie, or are you giving the definition of pretentious? Tree of Life. I have literally never heard of this movie. Don't confuse pretentious with high-minded, please. Pretentious means to pretend to be smarter or more cultured than you actually are. Some director make a movie you don't get doesn't mean it's pretentious. Now, when you talk about a movie and you're kind of making your friends feel dumb because they didn't understand the movie and you think you do, that's being pretentious. Joker. I guess a little bit. What is the greatest movie of the 90s? Jurassic Park. Film was awesome then, and it's still awesome now. The Matrix. Probably one of my favorite trilogies out there, and we don't really talk about the last one. Shawshank Redemption. I remember watching it when I was younger. I think I need to rewatch it because it was very dense for like a 10-year-old to watch. Terminator 2. Oh god, yeah, the T-1000 is the freakiest Terminator I think they've made. Pulp Fiction. This film defined the 90s. Goodfellas. I always get confused seeing the poster for that because the text kind of looks like it's saying Godfather, and I'm like, oh, I've already seen that. The Big Lebowski, 1998. That's just like your opinion, man. This unchecked aggression will not stand, man. The Fifth Element. Still haven't watched this one, but I love the aesthetic and the whole, like, funky vibe. Fight Club. Yeah, it's good, but god, people idolize it so much. What conspiracy theory do you believe to be 100% true? That AskReddit has about 30 questions that get come out on a rotating basis determined by a hamster playing bingo. Yeah, that pretty much checks out. The CIA posted this question every few months to find out what we know. All of these conspiracies are about serious stuff, so let me throw you a funny one. Harry Styles is bald. I looked at the evidence and I am convinced it's true. I remember watching this documentary called The Light Bulb Conspiracy about how the owners of the big light bulb companies got together and decided to reduce the lifespan of the bulbs. This is now true in so many electrical products where they just last that long. Yup, shout out Apple for breaking their old phones when they make a new one. Another Redditor said this a few years ago. The CIA is the source of the flood of conspiracy theories in circulation. They make them as kooky as possible so thinking people know not to fall for them. This way, if someone uncovers a real conspiracy, they'll just be labeled as yet another kook. Nice try. Yeah, you can't fool me. I know what the birds are up to. My cousin Ishmael was the one who stole my PS2 controller when I was 12, and nothing will ever convince me otherwise, Mom. It didn't just get lost because I misplaced it. I know what he did to me. Ishmael. Those are not my words, Ishmael. You did what you had to do. MK Ultra never ended, just switched names. Well, you can't just leave us hanging. What is the new name? The mainstream media is controlled by a select few to sway public opinion. That's blatantly obvious. How many mainstream media companies are there to begin with? Epstein didn't do the thing to himself. Yeah, that one's just true. I don't have one in particular, but I'd believe just about anything you told me about the US government doing some horrific social experiment. Oh yeah, that's just been the last 5 years. They purposely make women's pants with fake or ridiculously small pockets so that women are forced to buy purses. I thought that was just factual at this point. The whole clothing industry is messed up, SMH. I think it's either so women buy purses or so they have men carry things for them. Either way, it's really messed up. Cows can eat bricks. Is that a conspiracy that I didn't know about? Like, is that a debate? Which songs have the most instantly recognizable bass lines? Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. Boom, 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 boom. Hey! Another one bites the dust. You mean the undefeatable second attack from Killer Queen, Billie Jean? Absolutely, that bass line is Feel Good Inc. When you hear that laughing, you know it's gonna be a banger. Higher Ground by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, how can you hate slap bass? It's just so chunky and crunchy and Give Up the Funk by Parliament Funkadelic. I can't say I've heard this one, but I'm sure it's great. Under Pressure. You mean Ice Ice Baby? Calm down, people. It's a joke. That is my favorite game to play. Every time I hear the intro to those songs, it's like, all right, which one is it? Is it Ice Ice or is it Under? Seinfeld theme song. What's the deal with airline food? What's your most unapologetic hot take when it comes to music? Someone dragging out notes /playing/singing passionately does not make it or mean it sounds good. Some covers are absolutely better than their originals. Oh yeah, my favorite example is Mad World, because the original is by Tears for Fears, and it's a lot more upbeat than the Gary Jules version that we all know and love. Listen to everything. Good music isn't constrained to a single genre. You can still have a preference, but don't just instantly diss other music genres. Enya is awesome. There ain't no printer in here because this is straight facts. Bands and artists rarely sell out in the way that people think they do. Most of the time, it's just an evolution of who they are and what they want to do. Green Day. Sometimes they realize they're actually much better at writing a different kind of music. Sugar Ray. Just because you like their old stuff better doesn't mean they're betraying their principles just to make money. Yeah, I feel like we've been throwing the word sellout around a lot, so it's just kind of lost a lot of punch, you know? George Michael was the Ray Orbison of his generation and was completely underutilized and underappreciated. Today's music doesn't suck. You're just always living in yesterday. Does trash music exist now? Yes. Did it exist back then? Yes. Popularity is not a measure of skill. Seems simple, but that is by far the most common argument I have with people. Good friends even, over music. Weezer's lyrics are pretty stupid and cringy a lot of the time, but Rivers Cuomo is a fantastic singer and is extremely good at writing catchy melodies. Even if you don't like Weezer, you have to admit that they have some skill. What happened to you that no one believes actually happened? What are you, my therapist now? I was waiting to get to the tube on the London Underground. One just pulled up, but we decided it was too busy and we'd wait for the next one. There was a woman who kept staring at me. Intense eye contact. She got on the crowded tube and continued to stare. She turned to face the man next to her, whose back was turned. She then licked this guy's giant afro, unbeknownst to him, whilst maintaining eye contact with me. The doors closed and the tube went away. People think it's too random to be true. The memory is burnt into my brain. I can only believe that on the merit that people are insane. I once saw a cat and a skunk startle one another on opposite sides of a shed and sprint around the corner to smack into each other. What kind of Looney Tune situation were you witnessing? I walked in on my cat peeing in the toilet. I walked in, my cat stopped for a second as we stared at each other in disbelief. My cat finished peeing, then ran out. See, cats know more than they let on. Don't believe them, they're all lying. I was walking around my wooded driveway when I saw a young owl sitting on the ground. The next thing I know, I feel a sharp pain on the top of my head and look up to see a mama owl swoop off. No one believes me when I tell them I was attacked by an owl. Birds are a lot more vicious than you'd think, so that could have happened. Seen someone get completely trampled by a deer. Completely? Are they okay? Did you do anything? What do you mean? When I was in the 11th grade, I was followed around by a crow. Are you the three-eyed raven? I saw the green flash when the sun sets. It was on Anna Maria Island. I was with my partner who has since passed away. He saw it too, but I'm afraid no one would believe me. It's a moment I will remember forever. R.I.P. Michael. Well, now that you know it's real, you need to follow the light and you can go save him from Purgatory Island. Or whatever happened in Pirates of the Caribbean. What's your main secret ingredient when you cook? And don't say love. Savory foods, double the garlic. In sweet foods, double the vanilla. Lemon juice. I put it in literally everything I make. You'd think it would make things taste lemony, but it doesn't. The acid just brings out the flavor of everything you cook. It's as important as salt. People have said I make the best mashed potatoes. They don't know it's because I blast it full of lemon juice. Maple syrup. Okay, but are you putting maple syrup on steak? What are you using it for? This post appeared right under a cursed comment post about cannibalism. Now I'm thinking that's probably someone's secret ingredient. Butter. Everything is better with butter. But what if I just can't believe that it's butter? If your recipe calls for garlic, you can probably go ahead and at least double the amount it tells you to. LOL. It's not a secret, but bay leaves add a really nice flavor to a lot of dishes. I don't even know what bay leaves taste like, but so many recipes call for them, and I'm like, what are you? You're just a leaf from outside? Okay. Smoked paprika. Why would you do that? They were just a baby. You see, the joke is that paprika was the little baby shaker in Blue's Clues. So if you didn't watch Blue's Clues, I guess, whoops. Wine. Sometimes I even put it in the food. Paprika plus garlic salt equals mwah, chef's kiss. You meet your 14-year-old self, but you can only tell them 4 words. What do you say and why? All right, here come the people saying invest in this. Doesn't matter. 14-year-old me wouldn't listen. That's probably the most correct answer I've seen. Hug your mom back. Stand up for yourself. But that's so vague. And especially at 14, you think they're really going to be able to do that? They got so much anxiety. Please take a shower. I had really bad hygiene issues. Thankfully you said had, because if you didn't, we'd have to have a chat. Buy Bitcoin, learn coding. All right, there it is. But they did use it cleverly. It's 2 sentences in one. Take care of yourself. That would make me think I'm about to be murdered. They're called panic attacks. Even if they won't understand you in the moment of the panic attack, they can Google it later and learn a little bit more. Save your money, please. You know, I probably would tell myself this too. Invest in Apple stock. I was 14 in the early 90s. Younger self decided to take all savings and invest in applesauce? Yeah, you gotta be very clear, because at 14, I didn't know what the stock market was. People who like winter, why? Well, duh, it's big boy season, and if you are insecure like me, then you can bundle up with jackets so you can hide it. No mosquitoes. That is another major plus. I'm not sweating in bed anymore. That is, unless your roommates or family turn the heater up to 90 degrees. I'm fat and work outside. I think I actually heard that cold makes fat burn faster? I don't know if it's true or not, so grain of salt. I hate being hot and I enjoy snow. Wow, that's a humble brag if I've ever read one. Winter air smells so crisp and calm. The cold air on my skin makes me feel alive and inspired, like anything is possible. I can't really explain it. Have you ever walked alone in the woods during a light snowfall? I highly recommend it. Everything is quiet and still, except for the sharp crackle of underbrush under your feet as you walk. It's like being the only person in the world. Sorry, I think my introversion is showing. Never apologize, because that does sound amazing. Fall is the beauty of dying. Winter is the peace of death. Damn, no need to get so poetic on me. What fictional character had the saddest, most miserable life? Oh god, we don't have time for all of them. Quasimodo. You can sue me because I've never seen Hunchback of Notre Dame, so I don't know his full story, other than, you are deformed, and you are ugly. Like, come on, man, that's rude. John Coffey had a pretty shitty life. I apologize again, Green Mile just isn't, it's not fresh, okay? The little matchstick girl. She is cold, hungry, and alone, trying to sell matches no one wants to buy. She lights the only remaining one she has left to keep warm and dreams of being in a warm room with a family, eating a delicious meal. But then the match goes out, and she wakes up to the reality that she's alone on the cold streets. She dies of the cold, all alone. Charlie Brown. Did he, though? He had a dog that was really cool. His friends just kind of bullied him. Finnick from The Hunger Games. Miserable life, forced into child-killing arena, wins, but then forced to be a companion away from the one person he cares about. Another Hunger Games, escapes and has a brief moment of happiness, jokes he's dead. Eeyore. Thanks for noticing me. So depressing, even as a kid. Koba from the Planet of the Apes trilogy by M. Reeves. Dude was a bonobo, one of the nicest, most peaceful ape species, who single-handedly was tortured and hurt so much that he wanted all of humanity extinct. Koba no ape. Donald Duck, forced to live in poverty by his uncle and taking care of 3 kids that are not his. A freaking bitch of a girlfriend who dates his lucky and rich cousin at the same time. What celebrity aged like fine wine? Rachel Weisz. Yeah, she looks like she hasn't aged in 30 years. Shakira and Salma Hayek. Again, they have not aged in 30 years. Linda Cardellini. I have a bit of a massive crush on her. She will always be my Velma. Jennifer Connelly. I guess her body really said, let's keep this hot adjective going. Hot young adult to hot mom. Paul Rudd. I want to age like that. Once again, he has not aged in 30 years. Gillian Anderson. Oh, absolutely. She's the mom in Sex Ed, and oh my god, babe. Paul Newman. Yeah, I guess I can see it. Steve Carell. Definition of fine wine. The Office didn't get a reboot because Steve Carell is too hot to play Michael Scott. It started to get too a little unbelievable that people didn't want to sleep with him. Why has nobody said Idris Elba? That man. But he's always been hot, so like, is it really a contest? What food do people pretend to love? When I was a kid, I pretended to like this really spicy jelly. I hated it, but adults would act really impressed if I ate it in front of them or said I liked it. Oh no, buddy, you were just torturing yourself. What their kid made, if the food's not that great. I'm a super non-picky food lover, and I came in this thread to argue. Do people simply pretend to love certain foods, or do people just have different tastes and might enjoy things you do not? No, impossible. People are just pretending. I don't think I've met anybody that actually likes pizza. Stevia. There's absolutely no way someone enjoys that aftertaste. It's a weird cult that I'm not willing to join, and such a dominant flavor. Defending celery with my life right now. I will not pretend to like celery. I'm not a fan. Matcha drinks. Taste like grass. Vodka. It tastes like the walls of a hospital. In Mother Russia, the walls of the hospital taste you. Yeah, every time people say, oh, I love tequila, I love vodka, they're lying. All alcohol tastes gross. Starbucks coffee. Take the lowest quality beans, over roast them, sell sour, burnt coffee for $5 a cup, and convince morons that if they don't like it, they don't know real coffee. Kale. I will fight you. Kale is not great. Like, especially kale smoothies, those are blech. Fondant. I believe fondant is proof that most people have no actual taste and just eat things that look pretty and say they're good. I love seeing those crazy cake videos where it's just a literal blanket of fondant and it's nothing else, like barely cake. What's a rich people problem? It becomes hard to raise kids that aren't spoiled. Maybe you don't spoil the kids, but the people around you do. Do I spoil my kids? They might become privileged assholes. Do I not give my kids any money? They will think us greedy or strict or cruel. I lost every single friend I had when I started making money. People treated me differently, like less than human. Suddenly I'm a POS because I'm not financing everyone's entrepreneurial pipe dreams. I was physically attacked for not paying for a friend's cousin's wife's cosmetic medical procedure. Somebody I knew since high school faked falling on my property and took me to court. It got to a point where I had to cut contact with everybody from that chapter of my life, excluding immediate family. I guess that's why they say if you win the lottery, the first thing you should do is get a lawyer, because there are going to be people who are coming for your money, not knowing what a banana costs. Oh, that must be so hard for you. One of the craziest comments I've ever heard was during a conversation with two very wealthy people. I can easily justify spending $2,000 or $3,000 on a bottle of wine, but I just can't justify the cost of jet fuel. Life is full of tough decisions. Accidental climate ally. Wi-Fi doesn't reach across the entire house. Okay, but if you're rich enough, you can buy the little hotspot things. Grow up. Not knowing what place to summer at. Oh, I'm reading that didn't make sense, but now that I remember, oh, summer homes, they have different houses. Yeah, that makes sense. What's something that people take too seriously? Well, one thing is that I know some of you think I should be super smart and know everything, but I'm dumb. Remember this, I am not a smart guy. Themselves? Life is easier when you realize nothing really matters. Their social media likes, karma, etc. I do fall into this trap because numbers are nice. Children's sport. When I was in middle school, I played football and I didn't really understand the mechanics, and they put me on defense and I immediately slipped through the line and had no idea what to do next, and then all of the coaches, adults, screamed at me because I didn't tackle the quarterback, and I was like, what do you mean? Reddit comments. What's that supposed to mean? Hey, you can't just go around saying things like that. Astrology. Ugh, that's such a Virgo thing to say. Your Aquarius is showing. You're full of Taurus. I don't know what half of it means, but sometimes it says something that I like and I'm like, ooh. Gender identity. The only people who take gender identity seriously are the people who bitch about trans people existing. Conservatives and TERFs, y'all really really love to get in people's business when it's not even that big of a deal. A 10-second clip of a person out of context as if it fully explains their entire life and what kind of person they are. I think this means like Karen videos, but sometimes if you're throwing a tantrum in public, grow up. What do you like about yourself? Ooh, that's a loaded question. That I can make sunny side up eggs and don't break the yolk most of the time. Which spell did you use to acquire such power? I never try to judge others. That's actually huge. Good job. I'm very punctual. I was only late for work once when the subway broke down, and that was only 15 minutes. The downside is, other people tend not to be punctual. I've been through a lot and am still here. While it may seem small, that is a huge achievement. I think I'm a decent listener. Do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, then? I'm decent, not amazing. I don't want to brag or anything, but I am exceptionally good at being lazy. My butt. I'm pretty happy with my butt. Just because I don't know how old they are, I'm not going to comment. You have to make a toy all kids hate. What do you make? Crayons, but they're not Crayola. Make them out of paraffin, and don't use enough pigment so it's like trying to draw with a birthday candle. Frick you, Rose Art. Slime, but it comes pre-packaged full of pet hair. Oh no, why would you do this? A state-of-the-art VR simulator that only takes them to school. I was gonna say something similar, but only takes you to the dentist. Legos, but the holes don't match up. Ooh, that is so mean. It's like a Nintendo Switch, but all you can do with it is make spreadsheets. I guess kids would hate that, but corporate America would love it. My first accountant. Learn fiscal responsibility as your accountant doll explains in great detail the tax and inflation implications of your income and savings. Comes in beige, tan, or brown. Mommy, my first accountant told me we're gonna be bankrupt in 2 months. Rent. It's where you have to fork over your allowance to your dad just so you can eat and sleep. The rent game is for real. A fully automated, never-ending list of chores, aka adulting. A toy that requires batteries that are custom made, take 4 weeks to arrive, and last only 2 hours. I guess you've also discovered a way to increase our e-waste production at an alarming rate. What's a pain you enjoy having? Pan au chocolat? Okay, wise guy, that's just French for chocolate bread. Scratching a bug bite is oddly satisfying, but makes it so much worse. I'm getting old, but laying on my back on a hard, flat surface. It hurts, but feels good at the same time. Laughing so hard that my tummy, throat, back hurts, and I'm about to puke and can't breathe, just peed in my legs laughing. Just got off the phone with my brother and we reminisced the good old days. Deep, strong massage. Oh, if you're looking for that, go to those weird pay for massage chairs at the mall, and oh my god, they are the most painful thing in the world. Taking your hair out of a tight ponytail you've had in all day and massaging your head. It hurts so good. Weirdly, I understand this one a lot. Taking out ingrown hairs, squeezing pimples and blackheads. All you pimple poppers out there, you know what's up. A shower half degree below scalding. Give me that sweet, sweet burning sensation. I too like practicing burning in hell. Sore muscles after the gym. For me, that's a no, because the next day I can't move. Which song has the most recognizable intro? Star Wars main theme song. How does that one go again? Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. The first note is all you need. This man, speaking up for premature ejaculators. I commend your confidence. Queen's We Will Rock You. Another one bites the dust has the most memorable bass line. Queen for the double win. Seven Nation Army. Sweet Home Alabama. It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Thunderstruck. Ooh, that riff is real hot. Welcome to the jungle. But do you like fun and games? Never gonna give you up. Well, that one's cheating because everybody knows the intro at this point. Oh my god, Becky, look at her butt. It's so big. You know, I do really like Nicki Minaj. That's a joke. I know it's Sir Mix-a-Lot. You just don't get your fingers off the keyboard. Sweet Child of Mine. 2 Guns N' Roses. Interesting. Somebody once told me the world. Mr. Brightside. I'm sure by now you've heard, but the Killers are a Christian rock band. Don't believe me? Put a finger in your... What was that one childhood video game that you loved to bits, yet no one else seems to have ever heard of it? Chips Challenge. God, I miss that game, but literally no one I ever bring it up to has ever heard of it. it. Yeah, I fall into the never heard of it category, sorry. It was called Pizza, late 80s/early 90s jump and run game. Basically, you're a squirrel who time traveled back to the Roman Empire. Your goal is to collect all the ingredients it takes to make a pizza. Sadly, I only had the demo version, which only included the first level, but I loved the game anyway. I think when you had the full game, you received a new ingredient after completing each level. The squirrel can only travel home, to the present time, again once it has all the necessary ingredients and is able to make a pizza. It was a really fun game. Cats/Dogs. Cute PC game where you could adopt or breed dogs or cats and decorate various rooms with pet toys that they could interact with. Very relaxing. I do think I remember these, and it was basically like Animal Sims, basically. My Sims Kingdom. You know, I do remember the My Sims game, but I never played Kingdom. I think I did the My Sims Spy game or whatever. Commander Keen. Yep, I guess I don't know what that is. Harvest Moon 64. People have heard of it, but nobody seems to have played it. My grandma was a freaking god at that game. Habbo Hotel. Pool's closed. I think I tried playing it once, but it was just basically filling my computer with viruses, so I got in trouble. I'll get this going. Starball. Pinball game with 3 tiers and a few mini games. My bro and I used to compete for high score. The grind was long. We had acquired a few of those mid to late 90s CDs from Toys R Us, I believe, which contained 15 games on one disc. Other obscure titles include Quarantine and Road Warrior, Hell, Cyberbikes. Which fictional character do you owe for making your life better? Uncle Iroh. He was the uncle/father that a lot of people didn't have. That kid in maths books buying oranges. He helped me learn how to add. But why was he getting so many oranges? What was he up to? Superman. Clark made me realize that it is okay to be genuinely good. He also made me realize that no matter what you think, people don't actually know what's going on with you. That's actually an interesting takeaway from the whole Clark Kent Superman thing. Jean-Luc Picard. I've never really watched Star Trek, so I can't comment. Walter Mitty. Oh, beautiful movie, beautiful character. Just go watch The Secret Life because it's so good. Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle. Back in 2006, I suddenly felt very ill and left work with an intense fever, aches, and pains. I was laying in bed around 7 o'clock that evening watching Malcolm in the Middle. It was the episode where he went to the hospital with appendicitis. It got me thinking that the pain in my abdomen was in the lower right quadrant, consistent with appendicitis, so I went to the ER and was on an operating table by midnight the same day. The doctor said my appendix was close to bursting, and had I not come in, it might have ended badly. Imagine you met God. What would you argue about with him? I'd probably argue with him on just why. Why this? How to pronounce Geif. Oh, Jod, no! Jesus, no! Why you made it so unclear, yet the punishment so bad. Why the hell he never closes the door to my room? It's always just a bit open and he pretends like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Well, Jesus, you are a fully grown man now, so you can start locking your door. I've got some real issues with the design of the lower back. What were you thinking? Knees too. They kinda suck. How is childbirth pain, genocide, slavery, inequality, racism, wars a fair punishment for 2 people eating the wrong fruit at the beginning of time? God's just gonna plead the fifth on any real questions you ask him. Why is my pee-pee so small? At that, he's running away. He doesn't want to answer. Do you enjoy watching us suffer? At this point, I'm pretty sure he does. I'd grab them by the ear and say, I am Moana of Matanui. You will board my boat, sail across the sea, and put back the heart of Tafiti. Sorry, I'm a little drunk and should be sleeping. I'm also in the shower. Edit. Thanks for the award. It's my first. I'm gonna go get drunk in the shower and browse Reddit in celebration. I would bring a list, but at the top would be, why are you ghosting us? Yeah, there's a lot of people that's been trying to talk to you, man. Stop ignoring them. People of Reddit, what's the scariest thing you've encountered/witnessed? When I was 14, my parents went out to dinner with friends and left me home alone. There was a very soft knocking at the door, but I couldn't see anyone through the window. A minute later, there was more knocking. This went on for 20 minutes. My parents got home and I told them. It was snowing and they said it must have been the wind. I opened the door and there was a set of small footprints, about a woman's size 6. The creepiest part was the footsteps approached the door, then wandered to the side like she'd climbed the bushes under the window and looked inside before wandering off. It was a while before I wanted to be home alone again. Well, yeah, for obvious reasons. I mean, thankfully you had the detective skills to figure out it was real. I was in 5th grade on the bus, coming home, sitting with my friend, Las Vegas Boulevard in Las Vegas, and we heard blood-curdling screams. We looked out out the window and a man had been hit by a car and his whole back was missing, exposing his ribs and muscles as he just crawled towards the sidewalk. I'll never forget that image. Oh boy, another thing to ruin my day. I was in a car crash where I got T-boned and I saw the car hurtling towards me. I thought I was going to die. That is the scariest part of a car crash, is just the anticipation, seeing and knowing it's going to happen. What is a band that you genuinely think is different than others? Morphine. Hell yeah! Best answer right out the gate. Primus. Not many bands get their own genre with ID3 tags. Primus sucks. No, you suck, man. Gorillaz. Band that's comprised of animated characters, have been releasing albums for 24 years with consistently good and unique music that experiments regularly, and visually stunning animated music videos. It'll be a sad day when the Gorillaz break up, even though it is just a guy. Ween. The only Ween song I know is Ocean Man because of SpongeBob, so I don't it's funny. They Might Be Giants. Never heard anything quite like them. Fun fact, it's almost impossible to find the Malcolm in the Middle theme song from the show unedited because there are no versions like it other than for the show's intro. Radiohead. They definitely borrow some stuff from popular 60s bands, but overall I'd say they're definitely very original. Yeah. Bjork comes to mind. I don't know if I've listened to any of Bjork's music, but I know how weird she is. Tenacious D. You know, yeah, there really isn't anything quite like Tenacious D out there. Not that I'm aware of, at least. Pink Floyd. They are an unique band. Forever staying a classic in rock music forever. And now I've got to go check on the dark side of the moon, so I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. My name's been Brandon, and I'll speak into your ears again some other time. Bye-bye!